I am super excited because these are done, or at least they are to spec, I guess. I might have a little bit of cleanup to do depending on what the tolerance is like on these holes, but yeah, so got the outsides and the insides all finished on both of these housings for the drive system. Got the brackets done for the motors. So yeah, you are looking at a lot of work. This is about 3 different visits to the workshop combined. A lot of work here, like probably 8 hours of messing around with these pieces, getting them to shape from raw stock. And as I'm fond of saying in these videos, had I the proper tools, if my mill was up and running, I probably could have done this a lot quicker. And if I had a bandsaw, I could have cut out this slot on the bottom in short order. But it just goes to show, when there's a will, where there's a will, there's a way. Whose will, anyway? There's no one at the workshop named Will. Anyhow, I am pretty happy with this. So I guess the next step, I really need to cut some keyway holes in some of the gears, and then I think I can start on the assembly of this thing. And with that done, I'm pretty much done with my aluminum work for now. So this would be the perfect time to clean up the project work floor, because it's a giant mess. There's metal filings everywhere, and a clean shop is a happy shop, so that must mean my shop is super miserable. I did end up purchasing a specialized drill bit. I got a 3/4 inch drill bit, and that allowed me to drill those holes for the axles and align them as best as I could. I would say that minimized error. Didn't eliminate error, but definitely minimized it, because I wasn't measuring and then cutting on the other side. I just drilled straight through from that one cut, or that one hole I drilled on the one side manually, and then bored all the way through. So hopefully those line up pretty good. The last thing I want is crooked axles. And there it is. A little better, a little cleaner, not as dirty, ready to get screwed up all over again with the next thing. Tonight was a night of ugly work, but I actually accomplished more than I hoped for in a shorter period of time. I had earmarked 3 hours tonight. It's a school night, work night, so I can't stay up too late. And my plan was to be out of the shop by midnight. It's about 11:20 right now, and I accomplished everything I set out to. And this is all related to the drive system, so let me walk you through what I've finished. These are different keys. Keyways are those things that are sliced in there. Okay, so these are different keys, and this is how the different pieces, like the wheels and the gears, are all held in place, held fast on these axles. So I had to cut all of these from stock, so I've got a bunch of 1-inch pieces and a bunch of 3/4 inch pieces, and I would say they're fairly precise. They're precise enough, and they look good to me. They're right where I hope they'd be. Second of all, I had these axles. These had to be taken down from 6-inch stock to 4.5 inch, and I sort of leveled off the edge. I think these will probably need to be ground a little tighter once I get everything assembled, but I don't know. I also don't really have a sense for how important it is that these are perfectly sized. I don't know. I would think if anything, bigger is better, because I can always ground down if needed. As far as the wheels go, okay, I guess truthfully these need a little more cleanup, but I actually think I have to grind these down a little farther, so I didn't go too crazy. So I hammered in these Delrin axles, or whatever those are, shims, mounts, I don't know. And there was like a, an inch sticking off one side and there's a little lip on the other side. So I ground that down and I sawed that off and sanded it down a little bit. So I did that on all 4 of the wheels. There's still some final work, some little light sanding that needs to be done. This one was the first one I did. This is about as done as I think they need to be. Again, not cosmetic at all. This will all be buried deep in the foot, so no one will ever see this. So I'm not too worried if it's a little sloppy. And on the Npc Motors, a couple operations. I had to slice off one of those posts on the side on both of these things. So I used my my angle grinder, which, man, made short work of those. I was looking at Victor Franco's blog, and I guess he did that with a hacksaw, and I just don't have the patience or mental fortitude for that. So I just sliced it off and then ground it down a little bit, ground it flat. You can see I did a little damage to this part here, but I don't care. And on these posts, I had to chop 1 inch off there. And actually I just noticed that's not at all a 90-degree angle, but I'm not sure I care. There's going to be a gear that fits around here, maybe a bushing or something. So I think the end, it's not super important that that's 90 degrees, but I suppose I might give that a little further cleanup as I go. So I did that on both those engines. So yeah, overall you're looking at about 2.5 hours of work, and it was just non-stop. I didn't really take any breaks, plowed straight through. Not fun, not pleasant, not artistic work, but it was pretty cool. Got to practice some of my precision crafting. So yeah, I'm really happy with all this progress. I'm approaching a point where I can actually start doing a test assembly of the whole thing. And that's when I'll be able to determine if these need to be knocked down a little bit more, which I think they do. I think the belt sander will make quick work of those. Anyhow, that's it for this episode. Lots accomplished tonight. I am excited.